back now to our storm cleanup coverage. We saw dozens of homes and cars damaged by fallen trees and power lines. Customers with power out for days. For first-time homeowners, the aftermath can be a daunting problem to deal with. Here to help ease the stress, AAA Northeast Jillian Young is here. Jillian, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We want to start with homeowners insurance. What's typically covered when it comes to tree damage on houses from rain or just from these storms?
Yeah, so typically trees that fall and damage your property are going to be covered by a standard policy. Things like flooding or where you start to need a different policy, and when we start talking about hurricanes might even have a separate deductible. So now is a really good time, as we start to see some of these severe storms hit, for folks to get familiar with their insurance policies and really reach out to their insurance agent, because they're going to be your best friend in helping you understand exactly what is and isn't covered and some steps you can take to best prepare.
Absolutely. The big story for us in the aftermath of the storm was power outages. A lot of people lost power in this over the July 4th weekend. We went to a few houses, residents' homes, where they had to throw away hundreds of dollars of food that they had all stocked up for that holiday weekend. Is anything like that covered, hot dogs and hamburgers? It
was such bad timing with the holiday and people prepping for barbecue. So many homeowners are surprised to find out that some food spoilage may be covered in their policy. It's standard to be covered up to about $500, but that's one where reach out to your agent, find out, because you can get some of that reimbursed. And that coverage is typically pretty inexpensive to add if it's something you'd like to look into adding to your policy.
Ask questions. You never know what's in the fine print.
Absolutely.
And kind of speaking of some of those like hidden coverages, what are some damages that people may not think to look for that they should be checking on their homes?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, none of us are tall enough to see our roof. So
I might be.
You might be. You want to look for things like shingles that might be down around your property that might indicate that there is some damage to the roof that you might not be able to see.
Something with, especially with roofs, trees falling. You can't really prevent something like that. Sometimes Mother Nature just tries to do her thing. You know, is there anything though that homeowners should be doing before a storm to try to mitigate some of the damage, specifically from trees?
Yes, good standard upkeep and property maintenance can go a long way. Trim any branches that seem like they're hanging, and look out for trees that might be dead. If a tree from a neighbor's property falls on your property, it's typically going to be your home insurance that covers it, but that neighbor may be found liable if the tree was dead or damaged. And those are things that the insurance companies will figure out, but definitely proper upkeep is a really good thing to do this time of year.
Especially something like that, that's the time where you be a good neighbor and try to see if you can work together to mitigate the problem so it's not just one person's responsibility.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Jillian, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate the insight and the information. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.